Hello, YouTubers. Keanu Dave again. Welcome to episode 2 of Nostalgic Reviews. And this time it's going to be on the Wooden Railway Duke. But this is the re-release, the 2008 version of the Wooden Railway Duke. With the updated face and with the added... yeah, I'll get into it later. So basically... Now, let's get into some history of the Wooden Railway Duke. Duke was released back in 1997, and he was the first tender engine to have a plastic coal on his tender. Before the other engines had gained gained and updated plastic coals on their. The other tender engines gained a plastic coal on their tender in 2000, I believe in 2001. Sorry if I spluttered a bit. That can be fixed. And in the earlier releases, which was the first version of the Wooden Railway Duke. He was painted a more darker brown color, which was supposed to be more accurate to how he looked like in the Railway series, and except he still remained to have his yellow line stripes in the TV series now. Now, as you know, there is a lot of failure attempts in Learning Curve's career. I don't know if they've been watching the show enough, but as I said before, there's a lot of failure attempts in Learning Curve's career, and which of course would be Peter Sam with the incorrect funnel, Hamry with the incorrect shaped tender, Hamry's tender being a repaint on the Gordon, Edward, and James tenders. The earlier releases of the Wooden Railway towed connecting forwards behind the train and not backwards. Oliver with black wheels. Oliver's wheels being painted black, and Duck and Donald and Douglas without funnels. Yeah, the list goes on. And what I mean by Learning Curve does have a failure attempt in this model. It's still a great model, but there is one thing that puts it down, is the fact is that if you look right here, if I could just... there we go. The Duke's tender says Duke's coal car. Now, in the TV series and the Railway series, Duke's real life basics, aka Prince, there's like 5 of them, I believe. Prince, Princess, Hamilton and Welsh Pony, Little Giant and Mountaineer. They would be known as, even though they're narrow gauge engines, they would still be considered, their tenders would be known as tenders. They would be known as narrow gauge tender engines. Basically, and this says Duke's coal car when it's not a car or a truck in UK term. Like even with Bertram's Wooden Railway 2016 re-release model with a re-release edition with the added tender, when you turn Bertram's tender over, it would be known as Bertram's tender. Considering that this model was re-released in 2008, you would have think that Learning Curve would have known by now that would be a tender, not a truck, a coal truck. Like they would have corrected it by 2008. So I don't get that. So it's not one of the... So it doesn't really care, because even if it's even I don't think people really care. Fans really care about it because they know it's that it's known as Duke's Tender. So basically, now I really like his Wooden Railway re-release model as it's as it looks as it has a lot more detail than any other than the previous one. As you know, he's got like the saddle tank sideburns. I don't know what you actually call them in real life. And he has like a CGI sort of style face, even though this was released back in 2008 when the company was converting into full CGI for the next season. So yeah, this model is actually considered one of my favorite Wooden Railway models. Like, it's got like those sideburn things. I don't know what they're actually called in real life. Just like his real life basics prints, and so yeah, and he looks slightly a little bit more like, so yeah, so he's still a great model, and he still fits in well with the updated CGI, with the rest of the updated CGI narrow gauge engines. Fits in well with them. So yeah, he's a pretty fun character, pretty fun model to own, considering that he's a extremely rare model to get nowadays. I know a lot of fans prefer the old style version because consider, if you look from their point of view, they grew up in the 90s, and I agree. I grew up in the 90s as well, as I am a nostalgic 90s fan. But I prefer this one because it looks a little bit more like his real life basics, with the added saddle tank sideburns on the side of his smoke box. So overall, it is still a great model into Nook and Crane. The one thing I can nitpick about it, besides that learning curve not correcting the tender on the bottom to Duke's Tender and not Kolkar, is the fact is his color on his paint is a little bit too orange, like an orangey brown color. Considering in the show that Duke's color was more of a light brown to medium brown color. So yeah, oh well. The only models I would consider that had to have that correct color would be the Japanese brands, the Trackmaster model and the Yertle model, and the Take Along and Play model. So overall, this model was re-released back in 2008. And then in the US, and then it got discontinued in 2009 in the US. And then it was re-released again in 2011, and it was in stores for quite a long time, and then it was sadly discontinued in 2015. I wonder if Mattel has any plans to re-release this character anytime soon. Hope so, and hopefully they will correct his tender on the bottom spell, and this time they'll correct it as Duke's Tender, not Kolkar, whatever you say it. So yeah, overall it's a great model, and it's definitely a fun, spot-on model to the show. So overall, definitely one of my favorite models. So later now, this is Keanu Dave. This is Keanu Dave signing off. Bye.